there we have it. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing you the first update for my 2021 Pan Those eyeshadows. And let's be honest, there isn't as much progress as I had hoped. However, I'm still happy with the progress I achieved. Just a quick reminder, the concept of this project is I work on an eyeshadow, I hit pan on the eyeshadow, or 30 plus uses, then I roll that baby out and roll in a new one. I am not rolling in anything new in this update, but that is okay. It is what it is, and it just means that I have to spend more time focusing. And it just means I need to spend more time focusing on these shadows in the month to come. Though I will say I have got a few shadows in other projects, especially my Pan That palette, and I was still working on my Dude You Pan My Battleship project that I completed with Jalorn at the start of this month, which definitely put some of these shadows on the back burner to say. So let's just jump into it. Let's jump in and we can show you where we are currently sitting. Starting with the shadow that I used the least amount in the past month. And that comes from my L'Oreal LA palette in Ombre. And it is this brown just here. I will put a picture of what it looked like up in the corner last month, and also I'll put a picture below that of what it is looking like this month. But as you can see, there is really little to no difference because I only used it once. So this product has only one use, and one use or even 2 or 3 uses is not going to get me to pan, especially considering that this palette was brand new. If you are interested in seeing me use this palette the one time that I did, make sure to check out my latest Get Ready With Me dust collectors that I do with Paula, which I'll have linked up in the cards. But like I said, I've only used this shadow once, so we're definitely nowhere near close to hitting pan. Next up on 3 uses, we have the Revolution Alexis Stone palette. The shade I was using in this palette is this bright pink just here. And I really did enjoy using it. Like I said, I'll put a picture of what it looked like before up here and also a picture of what it looks like now. But as you can see, these shadows, I would say, are definitely quite packed together. They are it's gonna take a bit for me to be hitting the pan, but I definitely will say, surprisingly, considering how bright this shadow is, I really did enjoy using it. But I'm only 3 uses in, so we've still got a ways to go. Sticking with the pinks, next up is the NYX Sugar Trip Squad palette. And for this palette, I was working on this shadow here, this bright pink as well. This is a very beautiful metallic pink. And as you can see, I've actually also got quite a decent use on these greens. These shadows are lovely. I really like them, and I almost would be quite happy to purchase these type of shadows in singles and just basically move the rest along, though I do quite enjoy this palette. And I did do a Get Ready With Me also in collaboration with Paula as part of our Dust Collectors series, so I'll also have that linked up in the cards. But how many times have I used this pink shade? 6 times. I've used it 6 times, and I will say, though there is a bit of a dip starting to show, I don't think I'm that close to hitting pan. However, I am going to be quite happy to continue using this one. And I have used it, I think maybe it was all 3 of the times I used this palette, but I did use it in collaboration, I guess is the word. In conjunction, that's probably the better word. I did also use it in conjunction with the Alexy Stone shade. Also on 6 uses, I have the NYX Ultimate Brights palette. In this palette, I am dropping it. I am working on this teal green just here. And it is quite an okay shadow. It is this weird, it's kind of sparkly, but it's kind of matte. So I have tried using it in my inner corner, and it was probably a little too matte and actually a bit darker than I thought it was going to be. I do think what I was hoping to achieve, I might be able to achieve from this shadow next door to it, but this shadow here was just a little too dark to be in my inner corner. However, I have enjoyed using it, but I would say, though it has some sparkles in it, some little shimmery bits, it definitely performs a lot more like a matte, and overall, it's a bit harder to see the sparkles once it's on your eyeballs. And you know it, I have done a whole video on my thoughts on the NYX Ultimate Brights palette in collaboration with Samantha Pans, and I'll have that video linked up in the cards. Last but definitely not least is the Revolution Beautiful Darkness palette. In this palette, I was working on the bright gold shade just up here. And as you can see, there is definitely a bit of a dip showing. I have used this shade 8 times, and in fact, I am using it again today in my inner corners. And I really enjoy it. It is a really weird shadow because it's kind of both buttery and yet chunky. It seems quite press glittery, I guess is the way to explain it, because when you put it on your eyes or see, it is very, it's quite chunky. And then when you lay it out, it is still chunky, but as you can see, it seems to be quite gappy, if that makes sense. So, but it seems like it's meant to be like that. Like the glitter chunks are the main, I guess, part, the main aim of the shadow, and the stuff that fills in the outside isn't meant to be very opaque, if that makes any sense. But overall, it is fantastic in my inner corner, and that tends to be where I use it more often than not. However, I have also used it over the top of my eyelids, generally over the top of another shadow, but it is a bit more of a chunky glitter shadow rather than a smooth metallic shadow. So not much of a difference compared to my introduction. However, like I said, I have been swayed a bit by other shadows, and it is time that I focus a bit heavily on these ones. Going into the month of March, I would say my main goal is to use all of the shadows at least 5 times. At least then I've got quite a decent amount of use on those that at the moment I'm lucky to really have 1 use on. But if I use any more than that, it would be good. But the goal is to use all of them 5 times. I will say I do think it will either be the gold in the Beautiful Darkness palette or the pink in the Sugar Trip palette that I will hit pan on first. They are both glittery shades, and they both tend to go down quite quickly, especially compared to the Alexy Stone palette. This one here is going to be in it for the long haul. So really, that is all I have for you in this update. Most shadows have definitely got a ways to go before I'm hitting pan, but my goal for March is to use all of them at least 5 times. So with that said, I'm Verity. That was the first update for my pan those eyeshadows, and now to the outro.